For decades, America and Israel have called themselves inseparable allies, bound by what they claim to be shared values and unbreakable friendship. But recently, some shocking reports are emerging that show that something has certainly changed. For the first time in years, cracks are appearing in this so-called ironclad relationship. A new storm is brewing between Washington and Tel Aviv, and this time, it might not be so easy to hide. Just 2 weeks after Donald Trump proudly declared that his administration had brought peace to the Middle East, the situation has begun to unravel. Vice President J.D. Vance landed in Jerusalem this week, carrying what insiders describe as a firm message from President Trump himself, a message directed straight at Benjamin Netanyahu. Why? Because Israel, despite promising restraint, launched yet another attack on Gaza, putting to death to over 100 civilians even after the ceasefire had been declared. Inside the White House, frustration is boiling over. This violation of the ceasefire by Israel was not just a mockery of the ceasefire deal, but it was a direct insult to Trump, under whose watch the ceasefire deal was finalized. According to U.S. officials, Israel's actions were described as out of control. Even Washington's Arab allies were privately told that Tel Aviv had gone too far, and that this wasn't what the U.S. had signed up for. And for the first time, this anger isn't being kept behind closed doors. Trump himself warned that if Israel went ahead with annexing the West Bank, the U.S. could withdraw its support entirely, a statement no American president has dared to make in decades. The final spark came when far-right members of the Israeli Knesset pushed forward a controversial bill, giving preliminary approval to apply Israeli law to the occupied West Bank. To many in the U.S. administration, this was not just reckless. It was sabotage and humiliation of not only the international laws, but also of the U.S. so-called democratic values. Vice President J.D. Vance called it a very stupid political stunt. Secretary of State Marco Rubio went even further, warning that such moves could destroy Trump's peace plan before it even begins. And yet, Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu tried to deflect blame, saying this was a move by the opposition, not his own coalition. But observers noticed something interesting. Netanyahu's statement distancing himself from the annexation vote was issued only in English, not in Hebrew. It was clearly meant not for his people, but for Washington. Netanyahu thinks that the U.S. officials are fools, and they wouldn't notice this clever move of his. Unfortunately for him, his plan got ruined, and U.S. officials understood the reason why the statement was only issued in English and not in Hebrew. Netanyahu now finds himself cornered. He knows that defying Trump could cost him dearly at home, because Trump remains extremely popular among Israelis. But he also knows that angering the far-right annexationists could destroy his fragile coalition and his political future. For decades, Israel dictated the terms. No matter what crimes were committed in Gaza or the West Bank, Washington would defend it with weapons, money, and vetoes at the UN. But today, the tone is different. When the U.S. Vice President calls Israeli lawmakers stupid, when the U.S. President threatens to cut off support, and when multiple senior officials openly criticize Tel Aviv, it means there is certainly a secret war brewing between the two nations. In a recent interview with Time magazine, Trump made his position clear that annexation of West Bank will not happen, as he had given his word to the Arab countries. If Israel goes ahead with this, it will lose all of its support from the United States, Trump said. That statement shook the political establishment in Tel Aviv. For the first time, Israel's leaders realized that their actions could have consequences, even from their strongest backer. Meanwhile, the White House continues to sell the illusion that its peace plan is working. Spokesperson Anna Kelly claimed that the administration is working hard to sustain everlasting peace. But this statement only seems like an attempt to cover up, and the truth is that a Cold War between U.S. and Israel has begun with no clear end in sight. For years, Israel believed it could act without consequences, that America would always clean up its mess. But as global opinion turns, as Arab states push back, and as the U.S. struggles to maintain its image as a peace broker, the cracks are finally starting to show. Will America truly abandon Israel? Unlikely, not yet. But the blind loyalty that defined this alliance for decades is definitely beginning to fade. That's all for today. If you found the video informative, please like it and subscribe to the channel. Jazakum Allahu khairan.